Welcome back to LA Show. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in with me. Today we got Cisco here with us. Welcome back, Cisco. How you doing?
I'm all right, all right. Thank you for having me back.
Of course, we need this knowledge. So the topic of discussion, and it's been for a while now, the coronavirus or COVID-19. But from what I heard, YouTube doesn't like people saying that anymore. So we're going to refer to this as CB.
Okay.
Okay, because I heard a couple people talking about this on YouTube that, videos are getting deleted and um, all types of different things are being said. And we already told you guys in our last video what I did. I explained to you all that I was trying to look up different hashtags under coronavirus, and now it's just sending me straight off to cdc.gov. So they're trying to filter everything out to that system, but Cisco and me are going to point out some flaws that are happening everywhere. Um, this thing has came over to the US and totally, literally shut this place down. So, Cisco, what's going on?
Well, a lot is going on, and while a lot is going on, we are greatly being distracted by other things. But just
Hmm.
to lock down a few points about how this CV is going, I'm just gonna run through a list of things. And LA, you stop me anytime, ask a question, comment, however you want to do it.
Got you.
Okay, so my first point is from the Daily Wire, and I'm not going to read the whole article because I'm going to try to get through these points as fast as possible. But some of these I know we're going to have to discuss. But anyway, so the first one is from Daily Wire. Trump is breaking news that Trump unleashes full power of the U.S. government to fight CV. Trump has also freed up 50 billion and he has declared a national emergency. Now I'm gonna just read a few of this little things of what this kind of means. Okay, presidents generally claim emergency powers two ways: through inherent or implied authority under the U.S. Constitution or under statutory authority granted by Congress. And that's written by Chris Elderson. The Constitution says nothing specific about presidential emergency power, and the ones it does describe are actually assigned to Congress. The National Emergency Act of 1976 was designed to limit a president's power to declare a national emergencies, but has ended up providing a largely unregulated way for presidents to take unilateral action. Congress can vote at any time to terminate a state of emergency and is required by the statute to meet every 6 months while an emergency is in effect to consider whether it should be continued. So that means it's not going to go away fast if they meet every 6 months. But Congress has never voted on an emergency declared by a president or held meetings as required by the statute. So, look that up just to have background information for people who really want to know the National Emergencies Act of 1976 and what uh, it means to be in a national state of emergency. Is I think it's required knowledge for you to know what that means.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna move on to the next one. This is just a clip I saw from a video. You can look it up. But one thing, if you look in the latest speeches of Trump, he hints on evacuation. So you have to understand if they evacuate an area, what that would mean if you were in that area. If you are forced to evacuate an area, that means you cannot stay. And you would most likely be forced to where? Most likely, probably some kind of quarantine center ran by FEMA or some type of FEMA camp or some kind of housing situation that they've set up or provide or have, evacuation is evacuation. And now, depending on the size of your city and your location, you have to understand what that's going to mean. The videos are already starting to come out around the world. People are going a little nuts. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my second one. The number two is the BrennanCenter.org. And this shows you can just Google what I said before. Um, what does it mean when the president declares a national state of emergency? So you can go to BrennanCenter.org and it goes through all the powers that the president has and their application. Some of them, some of them that I pointed out is that he can seize property, he can sign military forces abroad, he can institute martial law, he can restrict travel, and in a variety of ways he can control our everyday lives as an American citizen. So just understand what that means, him declaring a national state of emergency. And it very well may be, it might be that to that level. Number four is Daily Wire. Italian doctors suggest age limit for healthcare guidelines invoke wartime measures. Now, I know you're going to chime in on this one because you just seen something.
Yeah.
You just told me something a little while ago. Okay, so I'm just going to summarize what this article means because and I knew it was going to be relevant. And that's just, you know, why we work well together. We working on two different things in these articles. Something she found and I found go right together. Even though this is in Italy, it's related to what's possibly going to happen in America. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, in that article, you can find it on the Daily Wire, is that they want to, because of the hysteria, they want to put an age limit to healthcare services or block services for with people with pre-existing health issues, which means is basically like they had such a crisis in the medical services industry that the hospitals and clinics have to decide, well, okay, you're already messed up, you're old, okay, I'm sorry, we can't help you. And
Well.
so yeah, so what do you do with that person? You quarantine them or you let them go back to where they are and infect other people, or go off and whittle off and die if they're
Mm.
if they have a pre-existing issue and they're old, which is seeming like who's dying the most right now anyway is people who had pre-existing issues or they're older. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was the thing you found?
So I found, posted March 13th of 2020, 6:30 a.m. on Los Angeles Times, Trump administration blocks states from using Medicaid to respond to coronavirus crisis. Well, despite
Yep.
mounting pleas from California and other states, the Trump administration isn't allowing states to use Medicaid more freely to respond to the coronavirus crisis by expanding medical services. In previous emergencies, including 9/11, terrorist attacks, Hurricane Katrina, and H1N1 flu outbreak, both Republican and Democratic administrations loosened Medicaid rules to empower states to meet surging needs. But it seems like Trump isn't doing that at this current time.
And who serves who are the most of the people that's using Medicaid?
Older people,
Yeah, senior citizens.
that's
So
terrible.
yeah. So you
Well,
saying if you're old and you get to get the CV, you asked out.
yeah, you toe off. I mean, and like we told you in previous videos, this is seriously attacking people's lungs. And I don't know if this is a point that you're going to make, but I've read an article where it stated clearly that your lungs do not fully recover from this. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull that up. But go ahead, Cisco.
Number five is, uh, according to one writer, Walsh uh, deserve to be blamed for the coronavirus. This is their Chernobyl. You can read that article, and it basically just taking people back to the initial reports on how this virus got out and spread in the Wuhan province. It seems like different media outlets are trying to spin different stories. So this person wants to say, hey, look, it's not racist to say Wuhan, it's not racist, but China has to hold this L basically on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Number six is also from the Daily Wire. This is a woman who recovered from the coronavirus, says that the hysteria is out of control. This is something that I've said offline with LA. I personally believe that it needs to be taken seriously because of who it seems to be harming the most. People with weak immune systems and elderly people and people that with pre-existing health conditions,
Mm-hmm.
especially people with heart trouble.
Yeah.
Um, um, and also, I just found out extremely, extremely healthy people. Extremely, extremely healthy people have had the when they get in contact with the coronavirus, there certain people have a hyperactive immune system to the point that their body uh, doesn't fight the virus. It kind of like shuts down and allowing the virus to overtake them.
Wow.
Yeah, these, I know it's controversial to say, but these man-made viruses seems to have, not only a jab and a straight right, but a left hook and a right uppercut and a left uppercut too. So, you can bob and weave some of it and it'll still even still might get you. But going back to what I was saying that I told LA offline is that I think this is very, if a person uh, takes the right measures to strengthen their immune system, and if they're infected, ways to stop the virus from duplicating and ways to keep you healthy on a cellular level and strengthen your immune system at the same time. There's ways to get past it, and this is the second article. It's called the Jerry Jorgensen story. So her name is Jerri Jorgensen. Jerry Jorgensen story. This is a woman who recovered, and she's saying that the hysteria is out of control because this is the second person. The other one was a guy who works and lived in China, and he got over it also fairly easily. He said it wasn't even as bad as the normal pneumonia that he gets like every other year or once a year.
Mm.
It wasn't even that bad. And that's the second report of that. So while it is taking out some people, we need to take it seriously. It's spreading like you know what, so we got to take it seriously. But at the same time, don't give up hope and lose your mind.
Right.
This is the time you need to be on your best self right now.
That's true.
Um, Number seven, this is from the Daily Wire. You can look it up. Canadian research team makes a breakthrough on coronaviruses. You go look up that article. But what I want to just say in conjunction to this article, you're going to find this all the time. I find these articles all the time. Some company has duplicated the virus and created a vaccine. Another one is saying in a month we're going to have a vaccine for it. I mean, there's just people doing all kinds of research and they're coming up with all these different breakthroughs and potential solutions. Uh, and also, I believe in certain avenues, even some manipulation. Because if you follow, like I said, on the, I think the first, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Whenever you find where they put money and look at that project, you'll always see something weird come out of it. Just like the
Mhm.
one India, where they have like a lawsuit against them, and I think over 50,000 Indian children uh, were infected with something through their philanthropical health clinic they set up. Always setting up a health clinic somewhere, and everybody ends up with HIV, or everybody ends up with, So
Mm.
anyway, I don't go too much into that, but that information is out there. That's public information. That's a real lawsuit. That's not conspiracy theory.
So I feel as though, the fact that these people can make this virus or vaccination for this virus so fast, we have to take in consideration of that too as a
Yeah,
people. We have to be
absolutely.
like, hey, well, this spread very fast. So for you to sit here in my face and tell me to inject myself with something that you made in a lab yourself in a month's time, 2 months' time, I have to question that.
Right, right. Absolutely. You do have to question that, because with this whole hint of evacuation, if masses of people are clean and they're evacuated from an area, what do you think is next? Well, in order for you to go back to that area, you need to be vaccinated so you don't get it again,
Correct.
theoretically. Anyway, because I can keep going on and that kind of stuff. That's when I'm just saying them forced forced and voluntary vaccination. Sometimes they have. Uh, anyway, we that's another subject. Okay,
Yeah.
so number 8 is from Zero Hedge. The U.S. summons the ambassador over China's blatant global COVID-19 disinformation campaign. This one I'm gonna read a little bit. China's U.S. ambassador summoned over disinformation campaign. China state media conspiracy theories and allegations which have suggested it was actually the United States that first infected Wuhan province with the deadly CV via the U.S. Army covert operations were made official this week by the words of Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Li Jianzhou, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Li Jianzhou claimed in a tweet that it might be U.S. Army who brought the epidemic to Wuhan, citing
Mm.
prior television testimony by CDC Director Robert Redfield, in which he said that early COVID-19 cases were mistaken for regular influenza. The U.S. State Department said on Friday it has summoned the Chinese ambassador to rebuke China's blatant global and disinformation campaign on the novel CV virus. This is what shocked me. This is number 9. This is from Zero Hedge. It said this is an article and have links to other articles dealing with the same subject matter, and scientists and mathematicians looking at the current rate of infection. They're saying that if at this current rate, that 1 billion people could be infected in 81 days. 1 billion people infected in 81 days. I'm going to say it one more time. 1 billion people infected in 81 days.
Mm.
And all I got to say is if it's that damn contagious, we got to be proactive. That's all I can say.
We got to get this shit under control. Sorry for cussing y'all, but whatever. It is what it is. We have to get a grip, especially when we speak on America. We see these incidents now of people fighting in these grocery stores. It's only going to, we see the lack of supplies coming back, because I don't know if you haven't been out to the grocery stores in your area, but I have, and I've seen empty shelves. I haven't seen that in a very, very long time. So we do have to be proactive. We have to be proactive in what we're going to do to protect our family. I don't know if you've been out in your area or watched the news, but a lot of schools have shut down. A lot of schools. Harvard has told their students, don't bring your ass back on this campus because, just don't. And that's terrible. Where are all those kids going to go? We have families now that have to make real life preparations because schools are out. People have jobs that they still have to go to. So yeah, we have to make preparations. Get prepared,
Yep.
because now
Yep.
they're blame game. So basically, China, in your last point, said that the U.S. had something to do with this virus, and in the mainstream reports that were first reported on this virus, if you can remember, it was supposedly created in a lab. Then this whole bat issue came up. The bat been eaten and will be eaten. They have been eaten for years, and they're going to continue to eat those bats because apparently they think they're tasty. That did not have anything to do with this virus. So I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna stand on that.
Right. Um. Yeah. So 1 billion infected in 81 days, according to what they're saying,
Yeah,
is
but that's a lot of people.
that's crazy.
Yeah, dang.
The number 10 is another Zero Hedge article. It's Twitter won't remove Chinese officials' conspiracy theory suggesting U.S. Army secretly unleashed the CV. Uh, just you want to read that article, go there. It's just interesting. People are saying that it's interesting that they won't remove it when Twitter is the most sensitive thing. They'll, block your account and, you know, take something off, but they won't take that off.
Yep.
Um, Number 11 is very interesting. Number 11 is teletrader.com, 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 saying that the Ohio Department of Health sees over 100,000 COVID cases statewide. So when I saw that, I was shocked because I've been looking at all the live maps and looking at the websites that have the live updates, and I always see the state of Ohio, excuse me, with like one case or two cases or something like that. But here they're saying 100,000. So then I did further research. I found news5cleveland.com, and they got the video of the governor saying that yes, there is over 100,000 cases in Ohio. 3 days ago, Ohio declared a state of emergency. And the crazy thing is, I went on, I think, at least three or four live maps. There is nothing showing, even the CDC's updates on their website doesn't show nothing about Ohio having more than less than 5 cases.
Wow.
I, yeah, some one site has one, another has like three, you know. So I just wanted to be fair and say less than 5. But here it is, you can confirm through local news that number one, they declared a state of emergency, and why would you declare a state of emergency over 3 cases? So basically, what I'm saying is indirectly is you guys got to check your own local areas information. You can't go off those live maps
No.
because Ohio is in a state of emergency with over 100,000 cases. So if mainstream media is using CDC, NBC, CNN, all these websites, which are basically news media entities, and they're using those numbers, those are not reflective of what the reality probably is.
Right.
And that can be very dangerous if you think about it. If you're in an area and you think there's only one case, but you're in an area, let's just say, for example, you busy with work and life, you're not really paying attention to the local news. You get out your house, you get in your car, you ain't listen to the radio, you're listening to your iPad or whatever, you know. And then you drive up to the 7-Eleven, you get your coffee, you walk right by the newspaper. You didn't buy the newspaper. So then you got right back in your car listening to your music, you went to work, you did your shift, ain't nobody talking about it, and you go home. And then you watch your your Netflix. And
I
you don't
mean,
know. It's
don't do that
totally possible
then.
that you can really not know. You flip past CNN. Oh, CNN. Oh, we ain't tripping. We only got one case over here. I ain't tripping. But it's really 100,000.
Nah, don't be that damn blind. Don't do that, please. Please, because it is affecting a lot of people. And, I've seen a lot of people say, well, do you know anybody personally who has the coronavirus? Or, just pretty much trying to downplay the situation. And now is not the time with the current leadership we have to just downplay anything at this point. So I see a lot of people are preparing. I do see that um, around the world. Nobody's taking this shit as a joke.
Yeah, yeah. You should have seen. I just watched a video clip of Belgium about to open one of the grocery stores.
Well,
It was
I just
just like it was just like tons and tons and tons of people, and they opened the door and they just rushed all in. Yeah, man, it's serious. It's worldwide.
I saw a video out of Belgium that had a man with a mask on, a Caucasian man with a mask on, then took the damn mask, pulled it down, and licked his hand and rubbed it on the railing. I said, you know what? It's a lot of sick individuals out here.
Yeah,
And then
you
I
are.
saw
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of sick ass people out here. And then I saw a skit on Twitter that was just totally obnoxious, just not the time. Dudes start breaking out, coughing up blood, and falling on people and stuff like that on a subway. So, like I said, people are trying to downplay it because it's better not to face reality. But like I said, not with this leadership. I don't trust it.
Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes. Now, part of the reason for this is that we have invested a huge amount in nuclear deterrence. But we've actually invested very little in a system to stop an epidemic. We're not ready for the next epidemic. You can have a virus where people feel well enough while they're infectious that they get on a plane or they go to a market. The source of the virus could be a natural epidemic like Ebola, or it could be bioterrorism. And so there are things that would literally make things 1,000 times worse. In fact, let's look at a model of a virus spread through the air like the Spanish flu back in 1918. So here's what would happen. It would spread throughout the world very, very quickly. And you can see there's over 30 million people die from that epidemic. So this is a serious problem. We should be concerned. But in fact, we can build a really good response system. We have the benefits of all the science and technology that we talk about here. We've got cell phones to get information from the public and get information out to them. We have satellite maps where we can see where people are and where they're moving. We have advances in biology that should dramatically change the turnaround time to look at a pathogen and be able to make drugs and vaccines that fit for that pathogen. So we can have tools, but those tools need to be put into an overall global health system, and we need preparedness. The best lessons, I think, on how to get prepared are, again, what we do for war. For soldiers, we have full-time waiting to go. We have reserves that can scale us up to large numbers. NATO has a mobile unit that can deploy very rapidly. NATO does a lot of war games to check, are people well-trained? Do they understand about fuel and logistics and the same radio frequencies? So they are absolutely ready to go. So those are the kinds of things we need to deal with an epidemic. What are the key pieces? First is we need strong health systems in poor countries. That's where mothers can give birth safely, kids can get all their vaccines, but also where we'll see the outbreak very early on. We need a medical reserve corps. Lots of people who've got the training and background who are ready to go with the expertise. And then we need to pair those medical people with the military, taking advantage of the military's ability to move fast, do logistics, and secure areas. We need to do simulations, germ games, not war games, so that we see where the holes are. The last time a germ game was done in the United States was back in 2001, and it didn't go so well. So far, the score is germs 1, people 0. Finally, we need lots of advanced R&D in areas of vaccines and diagnostics. There are some big breakthroughs, like the adeno-associated virus, that could work very, very quickly. Now, I don't have an exact budget for what this would cost, but I'm quite sure it's very modest compared to the potential harm. The World Bank estimates that if we have a worldwide flu epidemic, global wealth will go down by over $3 trillion, and we'd have millions and millions of deaths. These investments offer significant benefits beyond just being ready for the epidemic. The primary health care, the R&D, those things would reduce global health equity and make the world more just as well as more safe. So I think this should absolutely be a priority. There's no need to panic. We don't have to hoard cans of spaghetti or go down into the basement. But we need to get going because time is not on our side. In fact, if there's one positive thing that can come out of the Ebola epidemic, it's that it can serve as an early warning, a wake-up call to get ready. If we start now, we can be ready for the next epidemic. Thank you.